Beckett, directed by Ferdinando, Cito, Filomarino, and the film stars John David Washington and Alicia Vikander. Alright, so following the events of a tragic car accident in Greece, Beckett, an American tourist, finds himself at the center of a dangerous political conspiracy and also on the run for his life. Alright, so guys, I won't be doing my traditional reviews today. I'm probably going to start switching things up a little bit so I can start getting out reviews a bit faster. So I'm going to be going back to some of my old school type of reviews before I was too shy to show my face on camera. So yeah, these are just a little bit more convenient sometimes. Also, this is actually going to be a different sort of format from my reviews, maybe elaborating on pros and cons throughout the review before I give you guys my final rating, and that'll be it. So starting with the pros. So the first thing I really wanted to point out regarding this film that I really liked is that the type of movie it is. So it's a cat and mouse game type of movie, and it reminded me a bit of Surviving the Game starring Ice-T, if you guys remember that film. I think it came out in like maybe the mid to late 90s, I think, or maybe the early 2000s. I want to say mid to late 90s though, not quite sure. Also, it reminded me of The U.S. Marshals starring Wesley Snipes and Tommy Lee Jones. I have one other film I want to throw out as well, is Judgment Night, a film that I really enjoyed as a kid, starring Emilio Estevez, Cuba Gooding Jr., Dennis Leary, Jeremy Piven, Stephen Dorff, Peter Green. A big cast, a very nice cast of characters, of main characters throughout that film. And my thing is, you're going to see a trend between these types of movies that I'm pointing out, is that they usually involves characters who are on feet, who are being chased across a vast area, running down alleys, running through streets, running through backcountry areas, running through stores and stuff, random interactions with civilians trying to get cars and bikes and, faster ways of travel. I love that kind of shit. I love movies like that. I mean, normally, of course, I need a story as well. Like, it just can't be a movie that's all chase and no story. But, the constant change in scenery and shooting in different settings kept the film very visually appealing for me. Also, there was really great suspenseful, nail-biting moments at times. Now, I do want to elaborate on this a little bit later when I get to the cons that I'm going to talk about regarding the movie. But these, skin of my teeth type of moments that they presented throughout the movie, I thought were very entertaining. Like I said, there were moments where there was errors in the logic regarding some of these moments as well, but they were still very entertaining for a film, something very entertaining just to sit back and watch. That's going to keep your eyes glued to the screen. So yeah, in that regard, they get a pass as a pro, and later I'll elaborate when I get to the cons. And for me, this actually might be John David Washington's best performance to date. And I know that's saying a whole lot, but he really showcases some strong emotional range in this movie beyond anything else he's done so far in his career, in my opinion. He did a really good job. There's other films, of course, like Tenet and Black Klansman that he's done. Of course, he was on the show Ballers. He's done a lot of work. Even in Malcolm and Marie, he showcases a little more range than he has in a lot of his other films. But this is by far the peak, I think, of his emotional range that we've seen so far from him as an actor. And he did a damn good job with that. So hell yeah. And I think I possibly could have added this note in with the suspense that I enjoyed from this movie, but he's being chased across this foreign country by law enforcement officers who are trying to kill him, and he doesn't know why. And he's hiking through these rural areas of Greece where he doesn't know anyone. He has no clue who to call, no real sense of direction. I mean, it's truly a frightening situation to be caught up in and, not know where to go. And that's where I think it kind of really challenges the other films that I mentioned earlier, like Judgment Night and U.S. Marshals and things like that, because at least these films still take place in the US. You know what I'm saying? But when you're in a foreign country and you don't really know your way around, and you're also a black guy, so you stand out like a sore thumb because there's just not many people who look like you in Greece. So it adds to the suspense of the film. And yeah, I really enjoyed that. But anyway, that's going to do it for the pros. Now I'm going to go ahead and get into the cons. So there's only 2 cons that I had with this movie, but at the same time, they were big cons. They were really big cons that I had with this film. And that, of course, influenced influenced my rating that I have for the movie. But yeah, so I'll go ahead and get into the first con. So the logic was a little off in some moments. Beckett, played by John David Washington, wasn't making smart decisions sometimes. This is one of those movies though where you just can't help but think, well, you know, I would have just done this. But you may not take into account the stress of the situation, or, you know, how it affects your ability to think clearly, you know, when you're being chased or being shot at. But some moments just felt like stupid, unnecessary character choices. And I was like, you know, why the hell is he doing that? You know, even just something really early. This isn't even really a spoiler. It happens very early in the film. So I'll give you guys just this as an example. Early on in the film, he's running as soon as, you know, these people start to chase him and they start shooting at him, and he takes off his shirt while running through these woods and running through these like open valleys of this rural area. And he takes off his shirt and he just leaves it on the ground, kind of leaving like a breadcrumb for these people to follow him. And it's like, you know, why the hell would you do that? Like, why the hell would you strip down and leave like a trail of clothing for people to follow you? So that was just one of those things. But there's many moments like this throughout the movie that you could take note of, and you'd be like, well, damn, why the hell is he doing that? You know? So yeah, that was really the first major con for me. And then the next major con is pretty much as the film wraps up and the reason for why he's being chased, and this sort of big, you know, government conspiracy gets revealed towards the end of the film. That's where the next con comes into place for me. So the big mystery and the reason why the character ends up in this whole train wreck of a situation seems pretty sloppy, and it's really just a chain of events that have to occur for this movie to play out the way it did, and it just seems a little too kind of on the nose for me. And this aspect really made it difficult for me to take the film seriously, when ironically enough, that's the only tone the movie really pursues. I mean, it's a very serious, you know, suspenseful, edge of your seat type of thriller, but then they kind of trip up and start making these really kind of goofy choices with the story towards the end of the film. So I'm feeling a 7 out of 10 for Beckett. It's definitely worth watching, and it introduces some surprisingly intense moments throughout the movie, but you also have to entertain some moments that feel just very foolish, or just an overall story that feels like it's lacking what could have been a much stronger concept at its deepest levels if they just would have made a few improvement tweaks to the screenplay. But you know, that's just my take. So anyway, Beckett releases this Friday, August 13th, only on Netflix. But you know, there you have it. So if you guys enjoyed the content, you know what to do. Thank you for watching.